The BYD Seagull was taken apart because of a bank, UBS. You may have heard about this, it's been in the media a little bit recently, not much. You join me, I'm Ben Alexander, this is the Charge Show if you don't know. I'm on the front deck, I'm in Brisbane, this is not my house. But I just wanted to make this video because I've got a thing to give away in this video at the end, so stick around for that. The bank that famously took apart the BYD Seagull to analyse its innards, its components and cost structure, basically was UBS. They often do these teardowns to better understand just how competitive these EVs are, especially from Chinese companies like SAIC, which is state-owned, BYD, which is not state-owned, but are doing incredibly well. So there is a really, really simple reason why they did this. It's really, really simple. It's just to advise their clients how best to spend their tens and hundreds of millions of US dollars, really. So the analysis helps them and their clients just gauge the competitive positioning of, say, BYD, for example, with their Seagull. The EV market is obviously changing year to year. Like this year, it looks completely different to how it looked last year. Obviously, it's a relative term. If you're in the US, you won't have seen BYD. You're probably only on YouTube, maybe. In Europe, you've definitely seen them. But for example, I think this is a relative term because the Volkswagen ID Buzz has just been launched in the US, really. So you've seen Marcus Brownlee, he's just reviewed it. And that's been around, obviously. You see loads of those on a daily basis in the UK or in France or Germany if you're in Europe. So it's a relative term. UBS would have examined the materials, the engineering choices that BYD made to keep the Seagull's production costs as low as they have. They would have also observed the use of cost-effective materials and efficient manufacturing techniques, just to see, how well they really did with some things. Did they really make things, the metal too thin in certain areas, or did they cover metal electrical connections, for example, as well as they should have? Things like that. So it's just to make sure that they didn't compromise on safety and to see if they're a valid threat, really. They would have been checking all sorts of these things. One thing they did do was to hire a team of 30 electrical engineers to reverse engineer what they saw on literally every component, electrical component chipboard, which actually cost them $300,000 US to do that. And I would not be surprised if the whole project in total to buy the BYD Seagull and to hire the schematics people and to do the whole thing, if that exceeded $1 million US, I would not be surprised at all. I think they will also have been looking to weigh their parts, like I said a minute ago, to compare the level of polish on the whole product as a whole, just to see how BYD stack up against companies like Honda, Toyota, GM, for example. So it's just to validate if this is a genuine threat from the Chinese company BYD. Is it a real threat? I think it obviously really is. Hence the protectionist measures taken in the European Union. It's an incredibly valuable thing to learn as soon as you can possibly do that, and as soon as this starts to look a bit of a threat to the US, obviously, and to global markets. UBS obviously stepped in and sorry, I just had one of those things where you realise that your camera wasn't recording, and so I just spent 10 minutes talking to myself again. This is the second time this month. Right, so giveaway time. I was contacted by a company called Junsun, and they just sent me a random email and they said, can you mention our company, can you talk about our product, and we'll give you a charger. So I thought I'd do that. There's no affiliate links here, it's just me. I'm going to give this away to anyone, anywhere in the world, it doesn't matter. However, it is better if you're Australian, I suppose, because it has an Australian plug on it. That's your responsibility if I send it to you. Also, I know it works with 240 volts. I'm not sure about 120. Maybe it does. You can probably see on the clip or Amazon. I'll put the link below for you, and you can see if it's going to work for you, basically. But it's your responsibility to cut it and fit a plug for wherever you are. So I've got 12 or 13 cables. I obviously don't need another cable, obviously. I make these YouTube videos, I have a few cables. You can set the current limit, you can also see the total power that has been sent in this charge session. You can see the current power output right now. You can set the actual current from 6, 8 or 10 amps, which is really, really good, I think, as a safety feature, because I think, for example, generally I charge at 1400 watts. I wouldn't want to charge at 2400 watts on a domestic granny charger, so whenever I do that, that's what I do. I'm sure nobody really has issues with it, but occasionally they do, and especially if you're visiting someone who's got an old wooden house like this, you wouldn't want to charge up and push a plug socket for 12 hours to charge up a battery. So yeah, the only thing I don't really like is the pretend carbon fibre pattern on the outside box. However, it is free for you, so I don't think you'd mind the pattern if it's a bit ugly. To win it, please just make sure that you're subscribed, like the video, and comment a funny or interesting experience you've had when charging anywhere, any story. Just if you were charging a car or a vehicle or an e-bike or something like that, let me know what it was in the comments, and my favourite one, basically, I will pin it, and then I'll reply to you, and I'll send it to you wherever you are in the globe. I'm Ben Alexander, thank you for watching. This is The Charge Show. Typically I make EV news videos every day, and this week I've basically done nothing, simply because I'm now in Australia. You last saw me, I was in the UK, and then Europe, and Sweden, and now I'm back in Brisbane to renovate a house, basically, so for a little while. Yeah, thanks for watching, and enjoy the rest of the day.